Good morning and welcome to Where Entrepreneurs Thrive. My name is Russ Nolting. On this week's episode, we're speaking with Erik Galloway to discover how he became the entrepreneur that we see today and what makes him thrive. Erik, welcome to our podcast.
Hey, thanks, Russ. I'm actually really happy to be here. It's exciting.
Awesome. Well, we just met back in February in Anaheim, California, and I was super excited to see that you, after that event, became a member of the KW family, and I'm excited to get an opportunity to interview you. Tell us your story. Tell us, what happened, what you were doing before real estate, what got you into real estate, and ultimately what got you to KW.
Yeah. So originally I'm from Los Angeles, what came out here to Colorado in 2008. I like to say I lived a few different lives. And in that life, I was a youth pastor at that time. And so I did that for 12 years total, 5 years here in Colorado Springs. And it allowed me to have a lot of network of good people that I met here because the church that I was at was pretty large. And then in 2012, that came to an end and I worked some various odd jobs. Decided to move back to California because that's where my family is from. And when we did that in 2014, I ended up going to work for a dental marketing company that wasn't entirely upfront about their finances. I got a condo in California, sunk all my money into that. And 4 months later, the company was bankrupt. It was done. So it was a week's notice and we had zero savings, nothing. So we had to forfeit the condo. I moved back in with my father-in-law, 34, 35 at that time, and 3 kids. And for the next 2.5 years, it was a very, very low season. I mean, the real deal about government assistance and food stamps, the whole deal, that was us. But one of the things that came out of that was I thought, well, if I lost everything, I guess I can do anything. And I don't know why. Looking back in hindsight, I don't know why I chose fitness as far as money-making opportunities, because it's a very difficult industry to make a lot of money in. But my initial thought was, I love fitness. It kept me sane, and I love people. So let me marry the two.
Yeah.
And that's when I began to originally work for myself, personal training, trying to develop business, grow business. Knew nothing about how to do any of that. Up to that point, I was always an employed person. And so getting into fitness really helped me to start to learn to put my name out there, to put some sort of content out there, to really connect with people that I would meet as they came in and went into the gym. And as you would imagine, it's hard. It's hard to make money doing that. So we started looking for jobs to come back to Colorado. It's still a little bit more affordable. This is 2007. This is 2015. Still a little bit more affordable here. And so I linked up with Orange Theory and took a job as one of their managers opening a brand new studio. And what I'm about to say next has no bearing on the lady who hired me, but she didn't pay me well at all. Opening up one studio, I think I came and took $32,000 a year. For a family of 5, that's really rough. But desperation is a real thing, and if 32,000 is better than no guaranteed money.
Yeah.
So I took that role, and that lady, her name's Annie Randall, she helped to change my life because she captured in me right away this idea that I had a scarcity mindset. And I remember when she told me that, I was like, we're live, sorry. I was like, well, yeah, if I had money like you, I probably would be thinking different, right? Just had this mindset that wasn't going to get me very far. And so she challenged me. She said, I want you to pick a salary you've never made before, and I want to help you understand that you can do that, and I want to show you how. And so having never made 100,000, which is always people's first number, so I said, 100,000, let's do it. And sure enough, year 3, we were doing that. I had taken over multiple studios by then, just doing a good job, building, growing business for Orange Theory here in Colorado Springs, coaching as well. But the education that I got in those years, the books that we read, the mindset shift, really became the catalyst for me getting into real estate. So fast forward 5 years, we're now in COVID. It is 2020, and I remember the day. It was March 13th or so, March 15th, somewhere right around there, and we shut down in a day.
Yeah.
Everything comes to a halt. We had no clue that was happening. It happened so fast. And when it did, we were all sent home. So this salary that I was making now was in jeopardy. And I had been wanting to grow for probably since year 3 and on. I was like, man, I think it's time to make a switch. I feel like I've reached the ceiling here. I want something different. But security and stability and 3 kids, I was content to stay until COVID happened.
Yeah.
So we're sitting at home, all of us being alcoholics for 3 months, and I decided to do some new goals, and my new goal was, well, I want to make 250,000. I mean, if I was making 32 and made it to 100 plus, well, why can't I do this? And the light bulb just went off. And the light bulb was, I'm not going to do that here. It's time to go.
Yep.
Where can I do that? And real estate, a lot like fitness, is obviously the skill set's a touch different, but it's people, and it's connecting with people, it's serving people, it's growing with people. And so I thought, once again, well, I'm going to marry my enjoyment for people and my ambition. And so real estate was the deciding factor. And I remember signing up for my Kaplan courses, and 5 years to the day, I banked up $50,000 to live off of, because if you do remember the market of 2021 was crazy, right? If you got a call, you got to go see a house right now, or else it's gone. And so I knew I can't work and do this. I need to jump in. Put aside $50,000 for us to live off of, and knew it's either this or we're going to fall flat on our face.
Yeah.
So let's jump. And in 2021, January 27th, 2021, I was licensed. And that same day I was showing a house, somebody, not knowing anything. I was like, I'm a mentor. What do I do? Like, how do I get into this house? But it's been that ever since.
That's awesome. So you spent your first 2 years at a different company, not with Keller Williams, and tell us about your success. And I want to preface this with saying, like, the typical realtor in the United States sells 5 or 6 houses a year. Now you get your license during COVID, during a funky time.
Yeah.
What were your first couple of years like?
So year one, I closed 10 transactions. My goal was 12. Year 2, I closed 25, which was about 11 million in volume. And I remember, my first year was just, you're grabbing the chair and you're like, hey, I need to hold on because I don't have no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
Talking to older agents, I've had the privilege of having friends who've been in the industry for a long time. It was something that even they hadn't seen, just the way that things were going, the appraisal gaps, all of these things that were happening. And so I felt like mentally we were all on the same level, even though we probably weren't. Mentally, I was like, well, nobody's got an edge on me. This is a new market. We're all learning it together. So let's go. Mm-hmm. And a lot of trial and error, a lot of stuff that I paid for out of my own pocket, just not knowing, because I made mistakes, not knowing. I didn't know my buyers have to pay for propane proration. Can't pay for that. Didn't know it was a 1,000-gallon tank. It was $2,200. Okay, awesome. Never make that mistake again. Right. So it was a lot of trial and error. And then at the end of year 1, I got COVID, and I was literally in bed or on my way to the hospital for 30 days. It was terrible. I personally thought I was going to die, and I did not like the thought of that. Like, shit, I'm not even halfway done. I need to get better. But that kind of put a lull in my business. And so at the end of year 1, I was in a bad mental state coming into year 2, just thinking like, man, I fell short of my goal. I don't have any momentum because my pipeline dried up because I was sick. And so I was in a bad way. And I'm really thankful that the mentor that I had before, he actually kind of kicked me a deal. And that deal was a catalyst to get me back into motion. But man, the mental, that's what I've learned about this business so far. The mental aspect of this business is so important. If you don't got it, it's a hard road.
Yeah, for sure. So last year with 25 sales, more than doubling your first year, I'm curious where your business is coming from. I mean, you transplanted to Colorado Springs from California, so you've been building a network there, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What are your sources of business? I mean, what are your top couple sources?
So sphere of influence is a big one. And as I mentioned, working at a large church here for 5 years and then overseeing 3 locations at Orange Theory and coaching, I had a great opportunity in both of those realms to connect with people. And I firmly believe too, like wherever a person is at in an individual season, you can build off that, right? If I did a terrible job at Orange Theory and I did a terrible job at the church I was at, I'm sure my network would not be what it is.
Right.
Taking care of people, helping people along the way, that's a huge part of my business. The second one, the second supplemental source was Op City. And so I do get leads from Op City and have picked up a couple other lead services along the way, but Op City's probably been one of the best ones for me. So year 1 and 2, it was sphere of influence and it was online leads that were generating business for me. This year 3 is a little different. I think everybody's having to work a little harder.
Yeah.
And so I've never been on the phones as much as I have been this year, trying to generate business from people I don't know while maintaining the other sources.
Yeah. So one of the things we talk about at KW, and of course you're newer to the company, but we talk about constant contact with your sphere of influence, with your database. In fact, in Gary Keller's book, The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, written back in the early 2000s, he said 33 touches is a minimum standard with a database. I'm just curious, how are you touching your database, your sphere, the people from church and Orange Theory and your former coaching clients? What do you do to reach out to them? What's that look like?
I was going to say 3 sources, but 2 of them are one and the same. So I'll call and I'll text at least on a monthly basis. And right now we have plenty of reasons to do that. So like SVB Bank going under, I just use that as an opportunity to say, hey, just wanted to get preemptive with you. I know everybody's seen this. Did you have any questions? And then that spilled into, is there any other real estate needs, any other real estate questions? Assessments is another one. So finding any particular way to give them a call and add value to them has been good for me. Social media is another one. I try to comment and keep up with people's lives and basically be a cheerleader for them on social media. Anything great is going on, I definitely want to chime in and say, hey, congratulations, or that's amazing, or what have you. So those are my 2 primary ways. And one of the things I would say, and this is maybe spills into another question of why I came over to KW, is, that those kind of touches worked in 2020, 21, and 22. Because business was kind of falling out of the air at that time. And now I'm finding I need to learn how to do more touches, right? Mailers. I never did mailers before. I never door knocked. I've never called an expired up until this year. I haven't had to do any of those things. And so because I haven't had to do any of those things, they also weren't really taught to me. And that's not a knock against my old brokerage. It just is what it was. Things were coasting along. And so it wasn't a necessity for a while, so to speak.
Yeah.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with you. The people that I coach, and I talk to people every day, we're all learning how to lead generate. I mean, because we stopped having to do that during the COVID years at a certain level. And a lot of people are having to dust off their stand-up desks and get back on the phones. And it's been interesting watching this.
Yeah. And it's a big learning curve. I think there's a lot of things. This is what's kind of fun about being an entrepreneur and frustrating is the learning curve is going to be steep. because nobody likes rejection, and calling expireds is like, oh shit, here we go. Sorry.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, exactly. So how did you find your way to KW? I mean, you were growing a lot, and one would say, gosh, like he came in and sold far more than the average agent the first year during a pandemic, and then he more than doubles his business the next year. What got you interested in KW? What piqued your interest?
To be honest with you, I wasn't interested. I was happy where I was at to a certain degree, but I also knew in the back of my mind that the market that I came into was not normal. I knew that. I mean, that was just, I feel like if anybody with common sense could look at it and be like, this is not normal. So I knew all along, I knew there were holes in my business. I just absolutely knew it. And I knew that the moment that things slowed down, I was going to be in trouble because I didn't have the foundation set right to have business moving through the slow years. So this is going on in the back of my mind. And as it began to slow, I think late July of last year, and I was still closing deals, but you saw the trends changing. You saw business slowing down from what it had been. And I started to ask those questions to the people around me. Hey, I really need systems and processes for these things. Like there's a lot of holes in my game that I'd like to shore up. Can somebody please help me? And I would get pointed in a direction and pointed in another direction, but it wasn't meeting what I was looking for. And then Trisha, who is our team leader here at Freedom, her and I worked together at Orange Theory, and so she gave me Ed gave me a call first. And if anybody knows Ed Lewa, he's a very convincing person, and we had multiple meetings, and finally,
that's a nice way to say it.
Yeah, he's good at what he does.
He's good at what he does.
But I told Ed no, I didn't feel right about it. And again, business was still happening, so it was easy to kind of gloss that over. Then I talked to Trisha, and then I met Casey. And Casey actually took some time to give me some solid things that I had been looking for. So now my interest was open. Then they invited me to family reunion. I said, sure. It was my mom's birthday, so I was like, I'll go. I'm gonna go see my mom. Let's do it. And family reunion was actually really great. I was thoroughly impressed with the content that was put out, the practical steps that were put out, and the wheel started to turn. Like this is what I've been asking for. This type of structure and guidance is what I've been asking for. But I still, for whatever reason, wasn't ready. And in fact, after a few more meetings, I told Casey, I said, I just can't do it right now. I don't feel like this is the right time. And he said, okay, well, I'd still love to help you with your business. Came in, had one more meeting with him. And in that meeting, I think it's a very common thing for KW. Now I'm learning that. But he broke down, okay, what is your one thing and what are the 3 ways we're going to get there? And it was like, this is what I've been looking for. And it sounds so basic. I mean, it really does now. But as a new agent, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And when business is flowing in, or it's coming in easier because conversations are happening and everybody's making a ton of equity, and it's easy to just not know that you need that. So I just said at that point, I was like, man, well, this is exactly what I told you I needed. So there's nothing that should stop me. So I made the jump.
Yeah. Erik, I'm wondering, and I love asking this question, what's your secret sauce for your business? I mean, if you had to look at your business compared to the vast majority of agents out there, what do you think you do different, better, more special than the typical agent?
I hate this question. I really do. And I hate it for a few reasons. Being so new in the business, I'll be honest with you, I feel like I am barely coming into my groove.
Yeah.
So when people would say, well, what's your niche? What's your this? What's your that? I'll be honest with you, year 1 and 2, my niche was whatever you want to give me. You want me to drive to Pueblo? I'll drive to Denver. I'll go wherever you want me to go because my family's got to eat.
Yeah.
So now finally getting into a groove, understanding the business a little bit better, understanding myself a little bit better. I would tell you that the only secret sauce that I have, if it is even that, is I remember what it's like to be broke.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't ever want to go back to being broke.
Yeah.
There's a song that I love, and it's called No Way. And one of the lyrics, he's talking about pursuing his goal. And in one of the lyrics, he says, "And tell the family we're finally safe." And that resonates with me. So when I don't want to make the calls, I don't want to door knock, or I don't want to do the stuff that I think is extremely boring, because I'd rather be doing this all day, talking to you and talking to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to do those things, and I don't want to. I got to get my family safe.
Yeah.
So I wish my answer was a little bit more in depth than that, but desperation's a real driver, and I don't know backwards.
I think what I hear in your story, I heard a couple things. I heard I wanted to sell 12, but I sold 10. You sound like a person who sets definite goals.
Yeah.
Your goals are connected to your big why of doing right by your family. Yeah. And you're gritty enough to do whatever it takes to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that. I would definitely say grit is one of those things. During those 2 years where I was living with my father-in-law, that was a super low time. I mean, you do anything you can to make money, and because your children, your wife, your family has need. I don't ever forget that. Like it's a real thing to me. It's also why, like, in the future, my hope is to help other people realize, just like Annie Randall did for me, that there's not a lot of things that you can't do if you simply work, right? And we're gonna fail. I'm gonna fail a ton more. I know that, but I think the only time that you can't be successful is if you give up.
Right.
So my secret sauce is I'm gonna keep getting up even after the butt whooping, so to speak.
I love that.
Yeah.
So what's next for you as you look out, this year, the rest of this year and next year? What's on the horizon for you?
Yeah. So a big reason for me coming over to KW was thoughts of the future. So I inevitably want to be out of production in the next 5 to 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to help other people learn and grow. So I had no way to get there. The way that I was going, and Ed brought this to my attention the first time we met. He said, "You're doing a great job selling houses. I want to teach you how to run a business."
Yeah.
And I was like, you are so spot on. And I don't want to be doing this for the next 5 to 10, or I don't want to be doing this till I'm 65. No way. And so what I hope to do is first learn systems and processes, get my own rhythms down so I can be able to give that away to other people. I'm a firm believer, if I haven't done it, the way in which I can speak to it is diminished greatly. Like I want to be able to live it, do it, and then give it away. Build a team after that, and then see what the future holds from there. But those are my next two steps. Is I want to learn the foundation. I want to be generating over 30 sales, 40 sales a year just by myself, and then build and grow a team after that.
I love that. Well, I've thrown a bunch of questions at you. Is there anything else, Erik, that you'd like to share with our audience? Anything comes to mind?
I personally feel like if I can have any level of success, and I mean this sincerely, that there's not a single person that can't. Mm-hmm. And again, I've done all sorts of jobs. I mean, I was picking up donations for a company called Savers, getting stuff into trucks. I've been in dental. I've been in fitness. I sold insurance over the phone on a call center, which was the worst possible job on the planet. I have done and failed at a lot of different things. I've done and been successful at a lot of different things. And I firmly believe that if you simply don't give up and you have a learner's mentality, right? That you're going to make mistakes, that you're a person who can learn and grow, then there's no reason why you can't be successful. It's just a matter of time and effort and putting one foot in front of the other. And then ultimately too, helping other people along the way. Like I'm a big proponent of that. When I was at EXP, I had people come over at sponsorship. It's the same thing here because I don't ask anything. I don't make money off of people that I help. I simply want to give you whatever I've learned. I want to give away. If I can help you grow as an individual and change your life, that's ultimately what real estate as a platform I want it to do, is allow me to then help other people build, grow, and change their life.
I love that. Well, hey, Erik, I appreciate you sharing your story and being generous with our audience and letting us know how you've become the entrepreneur that you are. So thanks so much.
Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. And I'm super excited to be at KW and to learn and to grow. I feel like there's so much more ahead of me. And now I have the direction to get there. So I'm super grateful for all, this move and what's going on over here in Colorado Springs.
Awesome. Well, hey, great talking to you today. See you soon.
See you soon.